Thank you very much. So as you just heard, I'm Paul Lindley, founder of Ella's Kitchen, and I'm really, really proud that we're one of the UK's entrepreneurial success stories. Now, it's a business that is based on, and always has been, being mission-led, purpose-based, and people-centric. And I think that's exactly why we've been successful. Now, last month, we served our billionth portion of organic food. And this month, I stood back, as you've just heard, away from the company to concentrate on using whatever passions and whatever skills I've got to try and make things like our business culture more human and the measurement of our corporate success more human. And also to try and influence the welfare, the way our children's welfare is measured and is improved, which are actually two of the core principles for Ella's Kitchen. Now, I've been really lucky throughout my life in finding a guiding principle for the values that I believe in, and an inspiration for how to live my life. And I got that from a very young age in what Bobby Kennedy stood for and acted upon, especially in his presidential campaign of 1968, which is 50 years ago right now. And the parallels between that time and now are uncanny. I recently reflected a lot on Bobby's speeches, as when he challenged the inadequacy of measuring our economy on GDP alone, which, to paraphrase him for this time and place, measures neither our wit nor our courage, neither our wisdom nor our learning, neither our compassion nor our devotion to our country. It measures everything, in short, except that which makes life worthwhile. And it can tell us everything about Britain, except why we're proud to be British. Or when he quoted George Bernard Shaw often, with what should be an entrepreneur's mantra: "Some men see things as they are and ask why. I dream things that never were and ask why not." Now, Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights was founded in 1968, when his presidential campaign ended, to continue to live his legacy and to promote social justice and the values that he stood for of dignity, compassion, and fairness. I've been privileged to work with the organization for many years, and at this precarious time in our history in this country, there are so many drivers to divide us. So I became determined to establish its programs here and hold our government and our businesses to account, and to give children in this country the courage to stand up when they see something wrong and speak truth to power. We launched Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights in the UK this month with an ambitious program, an eminent board, and a passionate team. As Bobby Kennedy was brave enough to try and change the establishment, so can we, as we try and seek a newer world. Now, the critical ball of energy and ideas behind this whole organization, and the reason it has been so successful in this burning light for social justice for all these years, is Kerry Kennedy. She's not only Bobby's daughter and the custodian of that Kennedy flame of public service, but a lawyer, an author, and having worked in human rights since 1981, a long-term successful activist in her own right, and a tireless defender of the rights of the unheard. So in a minute we'll have a chat, and I'll introduce Kerry, but beforehand we wanted to play a video of when her father announced his candidacy for the presidency of the United States. So play the video, please.
In 1968, astronauts went towards the moon, but ended up discovering the Earth, taking pictures of our planet from space. A lot was happening on Earth that year.
I am announcing today my candidacy for the presidency of the United States. I do not run for the presidency merely to oppose any man,
but to propose new policies.
I run because I am convinced that this country is on a perilous course.
And because I have such strong feelings about what must be done. and I feel obliged to do all that I can.
I run to seek new policies.
Policies to end the bloodshed in Vietnam and in our cities. Policies to close the gaps that now exist between black and white.
Between rich and poor.
Between young and old in this country and around the rest of the world.
I run for the presidency because I want the Democratic Party
and the United States of America to stand for hope instead of despair, for reconciliation of men
instead of the growing risk of world war.
I run because it is now unmistakably clear
that we can change these disastrous, divisive policies only by changing the men who are now making them.
the crisis in our cities,
crisis in our farms and in our ghettos have all been met with too little and too late.
no one who knows what I know about the extraordinary demands of the presidency can be certain that any mortal can adequately fill that position.
I have seen the inexcusable and the ugly deprivation which causes children to starve in Mississippi.
Black citizens to riot in Watts, young Indians to commit suicide on their reservations.
Because they lack all hope and they feel they have no future.
And proud and able-bodied families to wait out their lives in empty idleness in eastern Kentucky.
I've traveled and I have listened to the young people of our nation.
And felt their anger about the war that they are sent to fight.
And about the world that they are about to inherit.
I cannot stand aside.
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 I cannot stand
I cannot
aside.
stand aside.
I cannot stand aside.
I cannot stand aside.
I cannot stand aside
from the contest that will decide our nation's future
and our children's future.
I do not lightly dismiss the dangers and the difficulties.
These are not ordinary times.
At stake is not simply the leadership of our body, and even our country. It is our right to the moral leadership of this planet.